You're tuned in to Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk, live every weekday on the Nation Network YouTube.
We're back. We're back. It is a Monday. It is All-Star Weekend. The Oilers went into the break on a high note. Let's get into everything with the lead. I'm also back from the Tourism Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament, which was just a great damn time. It was so much fun. We had the Flames Nation guys out there, Frank from Daily Faceoff, Adam Seaborn, our guy from Playmaker. It was a wild weekend. Made a lot of new friends in Jasper. The Flames Nation guys were just a great time as well. We went toe-to-toe with Team Flames Nation. If you want more on that, the episode of Real Life from this weekend was tremendous. And yeah, it was awesome. Like, I mean, look at this. Aaron will flash up a little photo here. It is like playing hockey in heaven, man. Like, you're on the pond right in the middle of the Fairmont JPL. The mountains in the background. The ice is awesome. It's just the clean mountain air in the morning. All of it was so good. Tourism Jasper absolutely killed it as always. CHE hockey was unbelievable as well. The Fairmont JPL was beautiful as ever. And we had a great time. I also got a puck off my face. So if I'm talking weird, you can see a little nick there. There's also video of it up on my Twitter, which I think is hilarious as well. Oilers Nation every day, though. Happy to be back inside the Sports Closet studio, where it's a little bit warmer than it was outside in Jasper. Sportscloset.ca. They carry Nation gear. They carry reverse retro gear. Or if you're an Eagles or a Chiefs fan, they're going to have some Super Bowl gear as well. It was a good weekend of NFL football. We are live on the Nation Network YouTube, where our guy Sergeant Battle is the first one in the chat. There are so many good things about Saturday to talk about, but let me start off with the Berlin Wall. Such a classy move by the Oilers, and that really is the story that deserves to be the lead. Not only the feel-good moment of the weekend, not even the feel-good moment of the year for the Oilers, probably one of the best moments you'll see in the NHL this entire season. I would imagine you've all seen it by now. But we have Aaron, run that video, because I want to walk through. I want the one of the montage. Give me the Berlin NHL appearance montage. Yeah, that's the one I want. 7-3 game, 2.5 minutes to go. I'll tell you everything I love about this. One, the shot of him stretching in the tunnel was great. I love how Woodcroft tells him he's going in like the most serious way ever as well. He wasn't laughing or anything. He gave him the full experience of getting pulled into an NHL game. The ovation from the crowd, unbelievable. We had our watch party in Jasper. It erupted in cheers when they finally put in Matt Berlin. This is a guy played his junior hockey, or a lot of it, with the Sherwood Park Crusaders. This is a guy who plays right now with the University of Alberta and the Golden Bears. He got to make a save. He didn't give up a goal, so he's a clean 1-for-1. And as our guy Waz pointed out, he is now at the very top NHL all-time save percentage as the goalie with whose name starts the earliest in the alphabet, who has 1,000 career save percentage. The high fives, the hugs after the game, him and Jack Campbell, that was great. All of it was just such an awesome moment. Perfect. An unblemished moment in the game, in the season. Liam, you obviously know Matt Berlin from your time with the crew as well. What was going through your mind getting to watch him do this?
Just kind of, so I was at a bar as well, and there was no sound. And then I saw him warming up, and I was texting my dad. I was like, is he going in the game? and then, yeah, like you said, like your watch party kind of all clapping, like the bar I was at, everyone started clapping as well and was like pumped to see him go in. So it's just like, it's really cool, honestly, just to see him, and like gives you kind of goosebumps because we know him, of course, right?
Yeah, we've talked with him before in our time covering junior hockey. Can I also talk about one? His interview is great, but the balls on the kid to give the crowd a little like, I can hear you in the, like, you've been in the NHL for 2 minutes. You are getting like this crazy moment. You make a save and you have like the presence of mind. You're like, yeah, just throw it up. Come on. I got you, Edmonton. It was great. The difference here as well, because I saw some people wondering this. You know, you aren't technically allowed to put in an e-bug unless you're forced to.
Yes. But
so
he wasn't.
He wasn't technically an e-bug in this hockey game. He was signed to an amateur tryout earlier on in the day because they knew Stuart Skinner was sick and they knew Matt Berlin would have to play. Personally, I hope this leads to, like, whenever we get a situation like this, you need a perfect recipe for it to happen. You need to be blowing out the team. You need to get a whistle late in the game and all of that lined up, because I mean, let's be honest. If there was a situation where there just wasn't a whistle for the last 2 minutes,
You wouldn't have gone in.
you wouldn't have gotten a chance to go in. So everything lined up perfectly. I love that the Oilers did this. I love that the Oilers players took a step forward and were like, hey, let's give this kid a shot. I love that the coaching staff played ball as well, because it would have been easy for them to be like, guys, no, come on, focus up, finish out the game. We're not doing any of this stuff. But you're heading into the All-Star break. Why not give your team a moment like this? And why not give Matt Berlin a moment like this? Just all of it was great.
Yeah, and like you said, I think my favorite part was the fact that this was the players who initiated this whole idea, and then everyone just kind of bought into it. Like there was, I think it was Connor that said, or maybe Woodcroft, that they went over and asked Campbell, and he was like, absolutely, let's get this going.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome. Like, it's just really cool. And then the fact of like after the game, or maybe it was before, he's like, yeah, I was studying for a midterm. And then all of a sudden I'm going on the bench for the Edmonton Oilers. It's crazy. And the fact too, that he is a Southside Athletic Club player from that U15 team with Skinner, Hamlin, and Tyler Benson.
The fourth player from that team to make an appearance for the Edmonton Oilers.
Unbelievable.
It's great. Here is Matt Berlin post-game in his scrum.
At about like 4:30 p.m. he texted me again. It's like, change of plans. We're actually backing up tonight. So then I'm actually sitting there doing homework, and my heart rate spikes. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So then it was a bit of a whirlwind of a day, getting real organized, getting ready to get down here. But it was unbelievable. Everyone was so welcome when I came in, the players, staff, everybody. So it was unbelievable.
What class were you doing homework for?
I was studying for psychology, midterm on Monday.
Are you going to get an extension or anything?
I don't know. I might have to ask.
I was texting our boy Connor Hood, who runs the media department at the University of Alberta. Obviously, I'm the play-by-play voice of the Golden Bears, so I'm very familiar with Matt Berlin and his game and that green setup he's got going on. Our producer, Aaron, is also a producer on those broadcasts. This show has a lot of ties to Matt Berlin and the Golden Bears, which is part of the reason I'm so excited we get to talk about this. But I texted Connor Hood, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to get Matt Berlin on this show today. Like, can we make it happen? And he just goes, dude, my phone has been blowing up nonstop for like 2 days now, or a day and a half now. Everyone wants to get a hold of him. He has a midterm at 10 a.m. today. Like, he cannot do media. He needs to go to class. And I just think that's like the funny part as well, is we're all sitting here obsessed with what this guy just did in an NHL game, obsessed with this moment. And Matt Berlin's like, I need to study. And there was a big scrum at practice today for the Golden Bears with him as well. But it was just all good. Davin says he just said he was fixing his strap. I ain't buying it. I'm giving Matt Berlin the credit for doing that, because I absolutely love it.
So there's one other small connection I want to talk about.
Okay.
So there was a picture that was taken, and this only happened recently. I'll give him a quick shout out. But a picture of Matt Berlin when he's kind of like in his full stance and you get the full gear. And it was taken by Target Photography, who is the Sherwood Park Crusaders team photographer. And that was like one of his first NHL games that he got to do. And yeah, he was the one who like took a picture of him.
That is
Lawrence was there. So shout out to Lawrence too.
Lawrence is a great guy. Always helped us out when we covered the crew and getting photos we needed for articles and stuff. So I just love this. And again, like a local kid getting to do this.
Yeah.
And Aaron, you can flash up this one of D. Ryan and Matty Berlin, two University of Alberta Golden Bears getting to share a moment after Berlin makes his appearance as well. It's just awesome stuff. Like, there's just so many great layers to this story. And it just, one, left you with a big smile on your face because the Oilers win and he got to do this. He got the vest after the game for being the team's MVP as well. It was cool. He got the after hours interview, which means he gets to keep his the towel, the Hockey Night in Canada towel. Like, that thing would be framed in my basement for the rest of my life. And he killed the interview as well. Like, he wasn't camera shy or anything. Like, he was just great. He knocked it out of the park.
I like to believe it's from all the media training I gave him when I was in charge of the media department at Sherwood Park. But yeah, just so cool. Just so cool. Were you at game 2 of the North Division final when the arena like gave him like an ovation?
No.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It's the only time I've heard the Sherwood Park Arena erupt with like a player's name, and everyone's like, Burley. Oh, it was so cool.
I love it. I love it. Matt Berlin, without a doubt, the big topic for today's show. Heading back into the chat. Some people, there was some talk on Twitter, and I know you guys are discussing it, or you were earlier on in the chat, about like, oh, is it disrespectful, blah, 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 blah. No. If you're the Chicago Blackhawks and you don't like it, don't go down by 4 goals, and you won't have this happen. And again, it was a unique circumstance where everything lined up. Let's be honest, there was nothing disrespectful about this at all. It's given a guy a great moment, and maybe in the moment, you're like slightly annoyed if you're on that Hawks bench because you're like, really? Like, we're getting beaten up. and you're going to go do this. But I think once the clarity of the moment kind of settles in, I don't think any Chicago Blackhawks players are going to be mad about the way that was handled at all.
No, I think even Spector tweeted out last night. He spoke to people on Chicago, and they were like, "Yeah, we did not feel that way."
Yeah,
for a second. I think it's just you read the moment, right? Like it is what it is. That you're not coming back. Equipment managers were already packing up. They were halfway on the plane.
Yeah.
So
and again, there's 2.5 minutes left. It's not like
Yeah.
you can possibly blow that hockey
Exactly.
game. Dukes is in, our boy Berlin Wall, icing on the cake for an excellent night for Oilers fans. Finally won in those tarps too. The reverse retro is no longer cursed. It took them till their final time this season wearing them, but they finally got a win. Troy DeVisser, Kane scored. Yep, that was another good moment as well. What else do we got going on? Peter King says, not looking forward to all this time between games. No, we have 10 more days to go, I think, until we get to see an Oilers hockey game again.
Yeah. So shall we review the schedule for this week quickly? So what's our show plan?
Okay, today we are live because we are literally live right now. Tomorrow we're going to do same thing, live at noon.
Okay, I'll be there.
Wednesday, no show, because I got to fly from Edmonton to Toronto to Fort Lauderdale for the NHL All-Star Game, which is going to be a ton of fun. So Wednesday, no show. Thursday, I'll be live in Fort Lauderdale for the show, and then after that, I'm going out to Media Day. I'll get a chance to chat with all the Oilers, Skinner, McDavid, Draisaitl. I'll get a bunch of clips ready, and I'll be back on Friday to let you know what I heard. We'll talk more All-Star Game stuff, so just no show Wednesday, live from Florida, noon Mountain Time on Thursday and Friday. And yeah, that's going to be the schedule for the week.
I'm putting you on the spot, but do we have Frank this week? Or probably
Frank
not?
Tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
So we'll have Frank on the show tomorrow. We'll chat about a few other things. There's some interesting Oilers rumors floating around there right now, and we'll maybe get into a little bit of that later on today on the show. What else do we got going on here? Live on Nation Network YouTube, hammer the like button if you're watching the show right now. Tyler Mulick, hello, great weekend. Loved the big ovation from the fans. Absolutely. And Tyler Mulick points out in that post-game interview, he says, because he played against Caleb Jones in the Western League, he says, I've seen his shot before, which is such a great little tongue-in-cheek answer to the question when Scott Oak's like, take me through the save.
He's a WHL champion, Matt Berlin. So when Seattle won a few years ago with Barzell, Berlin, I believe, was the fourth string goalie, but so many players kept getting injured that he had to play an actual role in the championship run. So I don't know if he's down as a Memorial Cup champion, but I'm pretty sure they won the Memorial Cup that year too, didn't he? He's definitely a WHL champion. I know that. So this isn't just a guy they picked off the street. This guy he's got some records.
Legit.
He's legit.
And he is their day-to-day e-bug as well. I saw him when I was up covering a couple of games last season in the press box. I'd always bump into him walking around. Yeah, you're right. He did. I'm looking at his playoff stats right now. He would have backed up that year. You're right. Interesting stuff.
Played for the Crew the year after. He won 10 games in a row in a Crusaders uniform.
I can count on you to always bring me the Crusaders facts we need to get through a show.
I got it all. It's a slow week. Don't worry. I got everything you need to know about Matt Berlin. His brother's my physio. There you go.
The connections just run way too deep. Rusty says he absolutely loves it. Dayton, our boy, who said last week that he was driving into Edmonton for the game on Saturday. What a game to get a chance to go to. The Oilers light them up. McDavid and Draisaitl do their thing. You get to see a wildly unique moment as well. Dayton Zins has got my first NHL season experience at Rogers Place, and wow, I've never experienced anything like it. They do a phenomenal job there, and the boys played great. I'm telling you, man, Rogers Place, if you sit there and roll your eyes with some of the stuff they do, trust me when I say it is miles better than a lot of rinks around the NHL and their in-game experience.
I think it's got way better over the last few years.
100%.
Significantly. Everything about it. Obviously, we're all going to say and complain about the concession prices. I don't think they're going away. But you take that away, the hockey's great. The atmosphere in the arena is good. Those guys who play the what are they called? The things.
Oh, the orange and blue brass crew?
Yeah, that one, the brass crew. If you sit in that area, they're really fun to kind of be around. And
yeah, they have a bunch of little bits they run throughout the game. It's funny.
So they, everything about the Rogers Place right now. Credit to that entire team that does stuff there.
Yeah, it's great. And again, you mentioned the concession prices. Even if you want to complain about those, go to any other rink in the NHL.
Go to Vegas.
Oh my Lord.
You can only pay on credit. And as somebody who didn't want to pay on credit, that was disappointing.
Yeah, you want to complain about a $13 beer at Rogers Place, and I think if you go up to the 24 ouncer at Rogers, it's $15.
Yeah.
In Vegas, a 24-ouncer of Bud Light, $17-18 American.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I'll be honest. I was ready to get going there, and then the guy told me I couldn't pay cash. I was like, well,
Son
one
of a
for
gun.
me.
Yeah. Alex Neal, Chicago can't really talk about being disrespectful. Great point.
Yep.
Not a bad franchise to do that to anyways. But there were some people on Twitter. I mean, it came from the fringes. I think it's just people who are just trying to be jerks. We'll end it at that. Rusty wants to know who else asked. Someone else. Yeah, Gorgeous George. Oilers don't play until the 7th. Who do you guys have winning the Super Bowl, Chiefs or Eagles? Listen, I got my guy Frank from Philly. My boy Lowtide is a diehard Eagles fan. I'm a Bills fan in the AFC. I'm rooting for the Eagles.
I really don't care. I don't have connections to either team, but I like the idea of Patrick Mahomes winning again.
Really?
I don't know. I just think he's going to go down as one of the greats and just to continue to get rings at such an early
He's got
age.
2, right?
Yes.
One? He just got
one.
the one?
Yeah, because he lost one to
he
New
lost.
England, right? Or was it Tampa? Yeah. And then, I don't know, to get back and do it again, like, they're unbelievable. I think they kind of deserve to win. Not that Philly doesn't, but you know what I mean?
I like the story in Philly, though. So I'm rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles in that one. When the odds are up. I think they actually already are. Betway is pretty quick to throw them up there. Is it a pick 'em or is it close? -2 for Philly. I'm
What?
surprised they're
Well,
favorites, actually.
I guess Mahomes is hurt, technically. Yeah.
Kelsey's banged up, too. Yeah. We'll see. I have a funny feeling, though, public money will push that. It'll end up pick 'em.
So maybe this is a question you guys want to have an answer to, but we obviously go to Super Bowl parties. You have your own, whatever it is. Is there a game you and your friends play, or you have a tradition at a Super Bowl party that you take part in?
Yeah, like one of those little prop sheets. I don't have one.
Squares?
No, not squares, but like you can go on websites and print off like how many yards will this player get?
yeah.
What color will the Gatorade be? My girlfriend and I always do one just head to head, right? Losers got to buy dinner.
Is it like a bingo kind of thing?
Not quite a bingo. Like you got to pick. It's like filling out a quiz.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Maybe we'll build one. Maybe we'll do an Oilersnation Everyday Super Bowl one.
That would be good.
Anthem length.
Oh, anthem length, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always use squares.
Yeah, that's fun.
If people don't know what it is, you basically just have a square board and you just write in the squares and then you draw the numbers, right?
Yep.
$5 a square.
Troy DeVisser, or was that Troy? No, sorry, it's Blake who's asking, is Stuart Skinner still going to the All-Star game even while sick? You got to remember, he doesn't need to be in Florida till Thursday morning, Wednesday. Like he has a ton of time to get down there. So he's got yesterday, today, Tuesday to rest up before he's even got to think about traveling. Maybe he skips media day and just goes in on the Friday as well, though I doubt it. Like he's got some time to get better. I fully expect him to be there. If he wasn't, they would have had to name, or probably would have had to name his replacement by now. I expect Skinner to be in the All-Star game. What else we got going on here? You know what? We got to get into, I totally forgot we're doing this. It's the show after a game, which means we got to do our 3 big things for our friends at Montana's. And you want to talk about big things? We have a chance for you to win a gift card, courtesy of our friends at Montana's. Flash that bad boy up, Aaron. Follow Oilers Nation on Twitter and Instagram. The post is going to be going out, I think, at some point today. You can win a $25 gift card. And how about this? We have even more gift cards to give away over the next couple of days and weeks here on Oilers Nation. The instructions are up on your screen. You got to like the post, tag a friend, follow the show and Montana's socials. The draw date is coming up on February 3rd this week for the $25 GC. All courtesy of our friends at Montana's, montanas.ca. Check them out. Find out about the daily deals and all that good stuff. My 3 big things, Liam.
Here we go.
Number 1, this team showed they can bounce back. They looked terrible against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That was an awful hockey game. You are 1 game away from going into the All-Star break. Maybe your mind's on the vacation. I know a couple of guys like Matthias Janmark, I think, flew back home.
Yep.
He's going back overseas, and he was leaving right after the game. The Oilers' big guns are down on holidays right now. Like, there was a little part of me that was like, you can't overlook this Chicago team. And early on in that game, it was tight, but the Oilers just said, you know what, enough. We got 40 more minutes till we're on vacation. Pedal to the floor, grind it out, play well. They did exactly that. I like that they showed after a disappointing game against Columbus, you can bounce back with a really, really dominant, not just impressive, dominant victory over the Hawks.
Wasn't there a stat that the Hawks are like 7-3 in their last 10?
They were 7-3 in their last 10 heading into that hockey game.
Yeah, so you can't underestimate any team in the NHL, but I agree. It was interesting how hard they went for the whole 60. Like they never backed up on any of it. And it makes me wonder when that conversation about Berlin happened. If there was a conversation in the intermission that was like, hey, if you get up by 4, we'll put him in for the final 3 minutes. Something like that. So I wonder if they were rallying. But it was, do you know what I love to see? And we don't see it a lot, is when like McLeod's goal.
Yep.
And then the buzzer randomly goes off in a ring. I think that would be such like a fun moment to be in the ring for. Like everyone just kind of like confused what's happening and then go a little bit crazy. That'd be cool.
Yeah, because it happened earlier in the game as well when McDavid slid that 1-5 hole that went off the far post.
Yeah.
And it was like, ooh, did that go in? And you're like waiting on pins and needles. You're like, buzzer, buzzer, buzzer. Then it gets like a minute after and you're like, God darn, there's no way we're getting a buzzer. And then the McLeod one, same thing, because he celebrated, even though there's no way he would have known if that was in for sure. That was such a weird angle. But he celebrated. He tried to sell it. And then you sit there and you go, ooh, give me the buzzer, give me the buzzer. Then it goes and it's like, yeah, you know we got that one. But yeah, the Oilers showing they know how to bounce back. Like that's one of the impressive parts of this month, I'll say, in my opinion, is like disappointing 5-2 loss to the Kraken to start things off, where you were up 2-0 and you blew it. You bounce back by playing one of your better defensive games of the season against the New York Islanders. Boom, that's good. You get doubled up by LA 6-3. That was really disappointing. You go out in your next two games, you outscore the opposition 13-2. Disappointing game against Columbus. You bounce back with a 7-3 win against Chicago. Their ability to just not let things snowball in a bad direction this month ties into my second big thing, which was what a month of January it was for this team, going 8-2-1. And listen, this team was on the outside looking in. I don't know if anyone in the comments follows a site like Money Puck, who's kind of always updating the Oilers or every team's playoff odds for the season. The Oilers at the beginning of January were not considered locks to make the playoffs. Far from it. It was a coin flip, more or less. And now you look at Money Puck, they have the Oilers at a 95.1% chance of making the playoffs. And not only that, you want to talk about how Money Puck values the Oilers and their chances of winning the Stanley Cup? They have them at number 2 in the league. They have Carolina at a 14.2% chance of winning, Edmonton at an 11.3% chance of winning. And you might be sitting there going, oh, come on. How can the Oilers be, considered the second? Look at some of the numbers with this team. They are tied for second in regulation wins in the NHL. If you go up by straight wins, they're a little bit lower because other teams have won more in overtime. If you go by points, they're a little bit lower because they haven't racked up the number of OT losses that some other teams in the league have. But wins in 60 minutes, I do think that's a pretty important stat. I think it's telling. When you can win games in the first 60 minutes, it is way more impressive than when you need 3-on-3 or the shootout to do it. It's part of the reason the NHL has got to restructure the points thing. But the Oilers, as of right now, I believe are a top-tier team in the NHL. And they are primed to add at the deadline. I love what I'm seeing from them. This month was great. I know, Aaron, you had that tweet from our boy Bob. We love giving Bob some love on the show. Hope he's having a great afternoon. But since January 10th, the Oilers rankings, first in points percentage, first in goals for, fifth in goals against, best power play, second best PK, second best penalty kill this month. Shows you how important special teams are. They're first and second in shots for and shots against. That was an incredible end of the month. It was an incredible month as a whole. This team showing the beginning of the season, that was just a blip. It took them a while to get going. They were dealing with some injuries, dealing with a very, very tough schedule. And now that things have loosened up and they're healthy, this is the Oilers team we were promised in the offseason.
Yeah, it's definitely come together on every level, as you can see there. And that goals for, that's because depth plays a scoring. Guys are contributing now in so many different ways, and we're not just relying on those 4 guys. And who got goals Saturday? McLeod got one. Obviously, Kane got his first one coming back. It was just good to see everyone just involved. And yeah, like you see in that tweet, it's been a very positive month. The vibes are good here in our country, and let's see what we can continue after the All-Star break.
Yeah, Tyler Mulick said it's a bit of a cherry pick stat line, and it is. Randomly starting it on January 10th is a little odd. But even if you were to just start this thing on January 1st and look at the month, they're third in points percentage. They have the second best power play in the NHL. Their PK does drop a little bit, which I think is kind of funny. But like still shots for per game. The Oilers still second in the league, shots against per game. I'm doing all this live right now, so bear with me. They're still, pretty much top 10 in the NHL. They're sitting at 11th. Like the stats are still impressive when you look at the month as a whole. They're just maybe not that impressive as when you start on January 10th. Regardless, Oilers are still great. We love to see it. Third big thing. Jack Campbell in the month of January is my third big thing. I'm going to leave. I had a negative one that I was going to throw out there. But Jack Campbell, early in the year, we know all about it. We said we don't complain when Campbell's above 900, and he was below 900 against Chicago. But on the month of January as a whole, a .918 save percentage, a goals against average of 2, winning 7 of the 9 games he played in, winning 7 of the 8 starts he played in as well.
Did he win every start? Because the 2 games that are on, so he played 9. One of them was a relief, and the other one was that LA game.
Yeah, you're right. 2 of them were, you're right. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, he won every start. He won every start. He made it 7 for 7.
We'll run that back. Go from the top.
Okay. Jack Campbell is great in the month of January. Look at the numbers here. A .918 save percentage, a goals against average of 2, picking up 7 wins in 9 games, but he was a perfect 7 for 7 in his starts. You can clip that part, Waz. Leave the other part out of it. But Jack Campbell was great. And I think the other layer of this is the context, right? Stuart Skinner was away for a handful of games, having his baby. Jack Campbell had to play in situations where statistically goalies don't do well. Second straight night, played in both of them, on the road as well, not sleeping in his own bed. The element of travel mixed in there as well, with the second game being the team who at the time was leading your division in points. And he delivered for the Oilers. He was 900 or better in a bunch of those starts to boot. He was great against the bad teams. He came through for them in games against the really good teams as well. Jack Campbell was a $5 million goalie in the month of January. Hell, he was probably a little bit better than a $5 million goalie in the month of January, and he's starting to get things back on track. His save percentage on the season is still .887. His goals against average on the season is still .334. Those numbers are not going to get back to $5 million level this season. It's just more or less impossible for him to put together that kind of success down the stretch to get him to like a 9.10 and a 2.8. It can't happen. But this guy, let's start measuring him from Jan 1 on, right? Let's see what he can do for the rest of the season. But let's look at the back half of this year for Jack Campbell now that he's settled in Edmonton and judge him based off that.
Yeah, a few months ago on ONR, I mentioned like his numbers are so irrelevant. Like his actual like stats that you see on the front page are going to be irrelevant for the rest of the season. I think you got to peel back the layers a little bit, open up the book, and see what's been happening. And the story right now for Jack Campbell is he's one of the best goaltenders in the NHL, and there's not much disputing that, to be honest. The Oilers have done a very good job of helping him with run support, but also when he's been called upon, he's been difficult to beat. Like you look at those goals against Chicago, like one of them was a tip in front. Another one was like a 2-on-1. I can't remember the third one, but whatever it was.
The Taves one in front, like great pass by Kane, guys in the slot. You're not going to stop that. Holloway had a bad turnover on the third one.
And I can't remember the first one, to be honest, but whatever. There was, but yeah, like he's
it
Jack
was the breakaway.
Campbell. Right. So there you go. It was a breakaway. Like you have to work hard to beat this guy now, where before you could probably throw a puck on net and it'd go right through his glove, which literally happened this season. So yeah, like it's good to see. Like we've got a dynamic duo now at the front with Leon and McDavid, and now in the crease with who we got, Campbell and Skinner. I can't remember. Soup and Stew. That's what I was trying to think of.
There you go.
Buy it now on nationgear.ca.
Soup and Stew shirt. Yep. Live on nationgear.ca. I like this one. You guys are just throwing out big positives from the first half of the season. Troy DeVisser, 4 players going to hit 100 points. It'll be tight. But there is a realistic chance the Oilers have 4 players hit the 100-point mark in a season, which is crazy to think about. But Zach Hyman's got 60 and 49. He is on pace for like 95 or 96. I know if you actually go like 60 divided by 49 times 82, he's on pace for 99 points. But because he missed some time, you don't get to make up those games. But my point is both Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins are on pace for 96 plus points on the season. That's really damn good. And I mean, they could do it, man. You got an easy schedule still coming up where you can bank some more points. There's a legitimate shot that the Oilers finish with. How about this, actually? There's a legitimate chance the Oilers finish with 4 players above 100 points and no other players above 50.
Bit top heavy.
Well, so you got McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, and Nuge, who right now are all at 60 points or better. And then you're all the way down. Barry at 34 is the next one. So he is on pace to be a 50-point defenseman. Nurse is close-ish. He's on pace to be like a 42, 43 point D-man. No one else is getting even close to this thing. So you could legitimately have 4 players finish with 100 points and no one else on the roster hit 50.
It's impressive. I guarantee no one thought that was going to happen at the start of the year. Now look at us. Take that, trolls.
Yeah. Beginning of the year, one of my hot takes, I think, was the Oilers were going to have 7 20 goal scorers. I had McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Nuge. I had McLeod in there. I had Puljujarvi, and I had Yamamoto.
How many are going to get it?
Well, we already have 4. The Oilers have 4 locked up already.
Kane could get it.
Klim is at 9. Could he score 11 in his final 30-some games? That's tough. That's real tough. He would need a couple 2-goal games to get there. McLeod is at 8. He's starting to heat up. I'll say outside shot McLeod does it. I don't think there's just no one else who's going to be able to.
How many guys
maybe Evander Kane can do it still.
How many guys get to 15? I think Klim and McLeod could both hit 15.
Yeah, Klim and McLeod will both hit 15, I'd say.
What's Kane at? Is he at 6?
He's at 6. In 30 games, actually, he could be a 20-goal guy still. He's got 32 games left.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's well within reason for Kane to hit that.
Yeah.
How about this Minnesota Wild troll? I think it's do we even play the Wild anytime soon?
I thought we were done with the Wild this
year. Do you
year.
have anything else to do today, sir? But thank you for boosting the algorithm.
Yeah. Go watch Daily Face-Off Live from today. We were hyping up your boy Marc-Andre Fleury. You can go watch that instead of trolling us in here. Oilers 9 wins versus the Wild in the last 30 games. Now do playoff rounds 1.
Hey.
I do like that you guys are standing up for the Oilers in the chat a little bit. Keep it respectful, though. Same amount of Wild Stanley Cups since 2000. There you go. Oh, Jesus, man. You can't comment that.
Oh, boy.
You're gone, buddy. You're done. You're getting put in timeout. How about that? Put user in timeout. You can think about what you said. You're timed out for the next 300 seconds because for some reason that's what YouTube says we're allowed to do. All right. Those are your 3 big things brought to you by Montana's. AB, flash this up again. You can win a $25 gift card. We're going to have a social contest. Keep an eye on, because I know you already follow, OilersNation.com on Instagram and OilersNation on Twitter, and you could win a GC courtesy of our friends at Montana's. There was a comment in there, and we've lost it now because of the troll, but it was something like, Guitar Maniacs. Here we go. Only thing. Just like Ken got praised for not overreacting to a tough stretch, we shouldn't overreact by changing deadline plans because of a great stretch. And I agree with that. Mm-hmm. I really do. And I thought Broberg and Bouchard had a really tough night against Chicago. Broberg specifically made a couple of reads that I thought were tough, and Bouchard just hasn't looked good all season. You still need a D-man. And I'll say that, maybe you don't need, I won't spend a first on Gavrikov. I just really, really think that's, I think that's an overpayment. I think you walk away from that deal not getting as much as you paid for from it. And he's going to get hosed to some extent going after rental players. They'll never look like unbelievable trades in hindsight. I wouldn't do that. I think they need a D-man. That's why I've brought up Kulikov before. I think they really need a centerman. I wouldn't change my mind on that. Jonathan Taves looked great here. And I think he'd look great in an Oilers jersey. And we got still just over a month. It's like 35 days or 32 days until the deadline or some nonsense like that. I'm going to keep hammering the Taves thing. I think a high-end center who can win you draws, who can play good in his own end, who gives you more lineup flexibility up front is massive for this team. And you need a D-man too. They're going to make a couple of trades. The Oilers are a team positioned with the assets they have to make a splash at the deadline. Tyler Mulick says Bo and Luke, go get Horvat and Shen. Yeah, I mean, even that, right? You'd kill 2 birds in one stone. I think Horvat's going to be a bit too pricey for Ken Holland's liking. I agree, though. You can't change your deadline plans because you were great in January. If anything, that should fuel Ken Holland to be an even more aggressive buyer.
I don't think Holland has changed his plans. I think he's just kind of got this idea in his head since September, to be honest, and I think that's just where he's going to remain. I am also on the Taves train with you. Obviously, the Max Domi one. Mm-hmm. I thought he played really, really well, honestly, against the Oilers the other day. Those are my 2 targets. And then honestly, I probably am on the Bo Horvat one. I think if you can get someone like Horvat for the cap hit, they retain a little bit, just kind of works out nicely in all that sense. maybe. And I agree, it's going to be expensive. But I don't know. If you say you give up a first, a third, couple of prospects, maybe you give up a go perhaps, and whatever it is, like, is that worth it? I would say, yeah, I think it would be.
My argument against that is Jonathan Toews can apparently be had for a second or a third round pick. Maybe you're giving up a second and a third and Fogle to make the money work, and you're having a third team keep half with that extra third. If Horvat's going to cost you a Giroux kind of package, where maybe it's almost Borgo and a first for him.
Yeah.
And you're not asking, you don't need Bo Horvat to be your top line center. You don't need a top line center. You could argue you don't even need a second line center that much with the depth you have here. You need a high-end third guy or someone who's just going to be good in your middle six when you look at the way the lineup's kind of constructed here. Are you wasting a Borgo asset on getting a guy like Horvat? Like, is he a luxury you don't need, right?
Maybe.
If you're sitting here and you're hungry right now and you have two options, right? You need lunch, Liam. Okay, you need lunch today. You want to get some pizza.
Ooh.
You can get 3 slices of pizza for $5. Or I say, I'll give you a whole pizza for $20, but you can't keep the leftovers. Well, you're probably just going to do the $5 for the 3 slices so that you're full, save that extra $15. And that's kind of the analogy I'm going here is, are you wasting assets on Horvat when you don't need that kind of a ceiling, right? Toews can come in for much cheaper, do the job. You can keep Borgo, use your first round pick on something else. Maybe you do go get a high-end defenseman, whatever it ends up being. Maybe you're just spending too much with no real chance for that to be worth the extra investment.
My counter argument, I never leave leftovers on a pizza. So I would get full value.
You would finish the whole pizza.
100%. That's my girlfriend. She's very frustrated when I do that. But either way, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I think the way I listed those guys, and Toews, Domi, Horvat, probably the order of operations.
O'Reilly's in there too, because they're going to sell.
Yeah, that's a good one as well, actually. Like, I just think there's enough talent out there the Oilers can go spend a little bit. But defenseman is something they'll need to go and grab. There's no doubt about that.
Peter says he doesn't like giving up Xavier Borgo. Rusty says, would Detroit ever give up Larkin at the deadline, or am I living in a fever dream? I don't think so. And again, I don't think he's what this team needs. I like Toews more. I like O'Reilly more. Tyler Mulick, Giroux is a 2025 first, a third, and a B prospect. I would send that if Shen was included. And the prospect as well. It was Owen Tippett, I think, who went back the other way.
Yeah, it was. So someone who had played in the league.
Yeah. So what's your Owen Tippett comparable? I think he had a bit more value at the time than a Puljujarvi. Maybe not, actually. Maybe that's the comparable. So do you go a first, a third, and Puljujarvi to get Horvat? If they include Shen, yeah, maybe. I
was trying to pull up Tippett's numbers, but yeah, I think that's not a bad comparison, to be honest.
Let's get to our Betway wraps for the day. Do we have it? Give me that cha-ching. One game in the NHL tonight. I like the Wheeler assist prop. He's got 5 in his last 5 games, and it's paying plus money. And the Nick Wheeler shot prop hitting 4 of 5. St. Louis has been bleeding offense, bleeding chances. I think you can take a couple of Jets props today. That's where the value's at. But Liam, what do you want to talk about on the betting front?
I got a quick thing on Tippett. I got the stats up. Tippett played in the AHL that season too before he was traded to Philadelphia.
So yeah, he probably is comparable to Puljujarvi.
42 points, 6 goals, 14 games in the NHL, 14 points in the NHL, 12 games in the American League, 6 goals, 18 points before getting traded. But yeah, I think that's a comparison. But when I honestly, I'll be real with you. I thought the entire NHL had shut down for the week. And then I realized there was a game tonight.
They're splitting it up a little.
Yeah, so we're just looking at the Pacific odds though. So our boy Rick, who works with us on Oilersnation Radio, got the Oilers last week at plus 700 on Betway.
It was like 2 weeks, like 10,
a couple of
14
weeks,
days ago,
Now the odds-on favorites to win the division are plus 225.
Crazy.
Still, if you put $100 on that, that's a good value. So I think it's just a credit to where they're kind of at the moment. On this, I mean, I think any of those top 3 teams can really go and grab it, to be honest. I wouldn't go past like Kings downwards, obviously, like San Jose, Anaheim aren't going to do it, but plus 225, just kind of wanted to show people where the Oilers are at right now, to be honest.
Yeah. I still think at plus 225, it's like honestly decent value.
Yeah, I agree.
There's not enough. I don't think this will really change a lot over the All-Star break. So you probably have time to think about it if you want to jump on it. But plus 225 is implied odds of 30.77%.
Do you remember what they were at the start of the year? I can't remember.
They were the favorite. Oh, no, they were right. This is about what they were, actually.
Weren't Calgary the favorites?
No, Vegas was.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
Because when Vegas, Edmonton, Calgary.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good value.
I don't
either
hate
way.
plus 225. I would have loved plus 700.
That would have been nice.
My good bet is that like a month ago, I got McDavid at plus 180, plus 190 to win the Rocket Richard. Count that. That's money.
That is.
I'm already spending it. I don't mind plus 225, especially they're
To
plus
start the
250
year?
to start, according to Gavin. Yeah. Okay. Look at Gavin roll.
Maybe after the All-Star break, we'll give Gavin a mic.
We'll see. We'll see. If this McDavid bet hits, we need to afford one. The issue is it's money. We can't afford to give Gavin a mic. Yeah, you Oilers have an easy schedule, and if they roll through that easy schedule, their odds won't get better than this. So if you wanted to jump on them to win it plus 225, a $100 bet profits you $225. So it'd return $325. It's a decent spot to go get them at. Just one game in the NHL tonight, 3 tomorrow as well. Just 3 games in the NHL tomorrow night. They all start at the exact same time.
Well done, NHL.
Great work, NHL.
It's like when they schedule one game on a Friday night,
Yeah.
and it's like the 8 p.m. game in California.
Shout out to our friends at Betway, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. No Sherwood Ford Giant game day editions of the show today, but we do need to tell you that if you wanted to get 10% off your clothing order with Sherwood Ford, because they do have some pretty sweet gear, they have an entire department. Their Sherwood Ford parts store is not only do they have the genuine parts needed to keep your vehicle running smoothly, but a giant selection of merchandise, clothing, and apparel. You can get 10% off. Head to their website, 10% off. It ends tomorrow, though, so take advantage of that. We do have the YouTube description. Also, got to give some love to our friends at Star Mechanical before we wrap this up. One of Edmonton's top new home plumbing installers for the past 20 years. Their crews are highly qualified, over 50 plumbers and gas fitters, 35 of which are Red Seal journeymen. StarMechanical.ca. They do 24/7 emergency service as well. The number's on the truck, 780-481-8873, 780-481. Brandon Davidson, Vinny Desharnais.
Yep.
So easy to remember.
BDVD.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, folks.
Liam got a haircut.
Yes. Breaking news. I got called a salad head
By our CEO, Jay.
Yeah, so that was kind of
In a meeting with all our higher-ups.
Yeah, so
it's a wake-up call.
Figured, it's probably time. A lot of people have liked it. My family really liked it, especially my mom and girlfriend. They've been on it for a long time. And I think it's good. We'll figure it out. But maybe now I won't get a haircut until after the playoffs when the Oilers lift the Stanley Cup. That'll be my thing.
Davin says, how many goals did Frank get in the Jasper tournament? He went under 5, I think. It would have been close. I think he ended with like 4. He might have ended with exactly 5.
I heard he tried to rim the puck around the boards.
The funniest thing in the world. So he's never played on a pond before. So like the first game was tough because like there are some cracks in the ice and stuff. You got to be like mindful of where you're moving at all times. Also, the rink's only like 80 feet by maybe like 25, 30 feet. So it's like small and you play 4-on-4. So there's 8 people on the ice. Like you got to be quick. Your decision. And Frank was behind the net. He's only ever played on not artificial ice, but like in a rink with like good ice boards. And he's behind the net and a guy's coming at him and he goes to like throw it around the rim of the boards. And it was so funny. It just goes whoop, right into the snowbank. And I was like, yeah, you can't get yourself out of danger that way, Frank. Like you got to make a pass. It was funny.
Yeah, that is good. It's funny because I guess in Canada, like everyone's playing on a pond. Everyone knows it's playing pond hockey. One of the worst parts is putting the puck into the snow because you have to go get it. Yeah. So yeah, poor Frank. Maybe next year he'll come back over 5.5 goals. Could be the goal prop, I guess. So we'll see.
A little bit. Peter King is wondering about Vinny Desharnais' stick. I know my guy Tony Barrar sent out a photo, and the stick is taller than Tony. And he asked if it's legal. So the NHL actually has like a moving scale of what is a legal stick. So there's like a mark where it's like no player can use a stick this high. But if you measure in officially above, I think it's like 6'6" or 6'7", then you're allowed to like increasingly go up with how big your stick is. Like Chara, for example, obviously could have the longest stick in the league, but like you couldn't send Cody Ceci out there with it on a penalty kill. Otherwise it'd be illegal.
I don't think players would even want to. That'd be so difficult to play with.
There's not that much of an advantage doing it.
So yeah, there's a picture of Tony and Avery.
Classic Avery. This is a great photo. Aaron's just sizing it up. There you go.
So big.
It's huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's massive, so he deserves a stick that big.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's going to be a wrap on our show today. Betway, Star Mechanical, Sherwood Ford, Montana's, and Sports Closet. SportsCloset.ca. Chiefs and Eagles fans, load up on your Super Bowl gear. Oilers fans, The All-Star Game gear is in stock as well. Sportscloset.ca, St. Albert Mall, Sherwood Park Mall, Kingsway Mall as well. Shout out to everyone who tuned in today. Got over 50 likes. I'm not going to complain about that. Live tomorrow, no show Wednesday. Live from Miami, Thursday, Friday. We'll chat with you tomorrow at noon Mountain Time. Enjoy your Monday, everybody.